Hello, this is Dr. Cy Powell, and I'm speaking to you today, introducing the concept of wellness, how to cultivate a lifestyle of radical wellness, which is only a radical idea when compared to our current sickness care model of healthcare in this country. The follow-up game. Doctor's advice. You've got a problem, but it's mild. Come back in 6 months to repeat the testing. And then we'll intervene at that time, because then when and if it progresses, that's when we get the license to intervene. There's no discussion of the root cause of the problem or how to head off progression of the problem. I have my middle brother who was visiting for the holidays and said, oh yeah, I went to my doctor, had my checkup, and I just have a little stenosis in my carotid artery. I was like, what? First of all, the carotid artery is the main blood vessel that supplies blood to the brain. And I jumped up and was in his face saying, what do you mean you have stenosis? And he said, no, it's only partial. And I said, babe, it better be partial, or else you'd be stroked out and you wouldn't be sitting here talking to me right now. So the patient always feels less threatened when they're told it's not this disease. Say like, it's only pre-diabetes, but come on, that is just, you are diabetic. There's no pre, you're just at the beginning of the progression of a very destructive disease that can injure your eyes, your kidneys, your liver, damage them. So while you are all there following and monitoring your blood sugars, you are destroying and waiting for this disease to progress until they can take action with some very costly, usually costly, secondary intervention. So here's Big Pharma's response: new diabetes drug rollout. I attended a Rybelsus, the new diabetes drug. You hear it on the Ozempic, Rybelsus. The pharmaceutical companies, detail providers on how these new drugs work, and they either come to your office and bug you, which I didn't like because they were interrupting patient hours, or they take you out to dinner, which I did like. However, now that I am have gone rogue and have changed my thinking, when I hear stuff like we got a new drug and it lowers blood sugars and it may help with weight loss, well, I'm going to tell you that when I was sitting in this dinner and they were going over how this drug worked, I noticed and I said, my God, this drug works exactly the same way that fasting does: lowers insulin and raises glucagon. And I'm thinking, so why do we need an expensive drug with all of its nasty side effects to do the same exact thing that I can show my patients how to do with just simply learning intermittent fasting? Well, these drugs definitely have nasty side effects. And when you see the commercials on television, it's beautiful pictures of, men and women doing family-oriented stuff, eating healthy foods at picnic tables, and beautiful music, sunny day, and in the background, and in small, tiny print, they're talking about the fact that it can cause cognitive loss, that it can cause blood clots, death, heart attack, these kind of things. Why do we need a drug when we can do it all natural? Well, here's the answer: polypharmacy. This is what polypharmacy ends up with: skull and crossbones. Meet the twins: obesity and chronic diseases. We have a twin epidemic of obesity and chronic diseases, while paying the most in healthcare costs than any other developed country. We have been misled to believe that eating fat makes you fat or causes heart disease, but that has since been proven to be false, although it hasn't been as easy to convince the public. Fat is not the culprit. Sugar intake is. I have a 3-step system. Increase your mental fitness muscle so you can get unstuck. Control what food you eat and when you eat. Choose a self-aware and self-loving lifestyle. Now, combining these 3 steps is the path to wellness and optimal aging. Medicine has left out the mind and body or spirit, and isolates body compartments in order to manage disease symptoms. That's our sickness care model. But by changing your mindset to positive, that you can achieve these goals, by learning that it's not just what you eat, but when you eat, and by embracing self-awareness. If you don't know you have an issue, you won't be able to tackle it or do anything about it. And you need to incorporate a self-loving lifestyle, because that's how we get to heal ourselves and appreciate ourselves and be happy. My story, who am I? Once upon a time, I was an overweight, midlife African-American female physician with 3 chronic diseases. I had high blood pressure, heart disease, and autoimmune arthritis. I was stressed out and heading to burnout. Yeah, but I was functional. I was a warrior woman struggling until I finally learned how to heal myself. So I lost 50 pounds and stopped all of my expensive drugs I was taking that were really managing and not curing me. Who am I now? A dual healer, GYN doctor plus nutrition coach, offering GYN plus care. I no longer ignore obesity and chronic diseases while only asking you about when was your last mammogram, when was your last pap smear. I'm the founder and CEO of Balance to Bloom, which is a diet and fasting virtual group coaching program. And I'm a speaker on lifestyle medicine. So what is a radical wellness lifestyle? Well, this is a 3-step strategy: conscious eating mindset, time-restricted eating, which is another way of saying fasting or intermittent fasting, and lifestyle medicine. You'll learn with these steps how to get off autopilot and make conscious eating choices. You'll experience the power of balancing eating with periods of not eating, so that the body's built-in famine protector, built-in repair and self-healing are activated to improve our health and promote longevity. And you'll learn how to control that master storage hormone, insulin, which will help you prevent diabetes and lower chronic inflammation. That is the root cause of all chronic diseases, including dementia. And you'll learn how to use the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine that put your health as the linchpin piece for a long and robust life. These are the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. You see, health's in the center, and it's surrounded by all the other components that make up our lives. So first piece is healthy eating. You need to eat authentic, real food. I'm fond of saying it has to grow in the earth, grow in the earth, walk the earth, swim the ocean, or fly in the skies. This made up stuff, these refined processed food, is food stuff. It's not nutrient rich. It's only high in calories. And yeah, it tastes good. So we also, the other pillar, second pillar, is physical activity. And I don't mean you have to join a CrossFit gym. I don't mean you have to do strenuous, run 10 miles a week. You don't got to do all that. You just have to stay active, walk, garden, hike, bike, do small things throughout clean your house, do spring cleaning. That's physical activity. You need to also don't be a couch potato, because then you're just sitting waiting to die. Stress management, very key, very important. And here's why. Stress is here. I don't think anybody can say they don't have some stress in their life, and it's going to come whenever change happens that initiates stress. So we need to learn how to cope with stress, how to create or cultivate emotional resilience to manage these periods of challenge and stress and duress, and not use our stress coping mechanisms like alcohol, like overeating, like extra sex, or working extra long hours. So being a workaholic is one way some people cope with stress, but it doesn't help. It starts out okay, but it rapidly becomes counterproductive and now starts to hurt you. We also have to look at the 4th pillar of lifestyle medicine, which includes our relationships, because we are beings that love to belong, love to get connected. And we need to work on maintaining those relationships as we age, because loneliness is one of the key factors for early demise. And you've seen that where, elderly couples, one person dies and soon right after the spouse, the surviving spouse, follows suit because they're lonely and they miss that person. They don't know how to continue without them, and they don't have any other relationships building. So we got to maintain relationships as we age. And sleep is critical. The sweet spot is 7 hours, and we don't get enough of that. And that hurts us, because when we sleep is when our body repairs and heals itself. We have bone-derived neurotrophic factor for the brain, and we develop new pathways and new neural connections by that. We have the growth hormone that comes out when we sleep, and all the other hormones that are stress hormones, they're lower when we sleep. So our body is in a healing state when we sleep, because when we're sleeping, we're not eating. We're in the fasted state. That's where breakfast came from. When we wake up, we need to break our fast. But that implies that we were fasting. And if you're eating late in the night, when you're sleeping, you're still not fasting, because you just ate, and your body, what is it going to do? It's going to signal for the insulin to come, help out, get rid of this new intake of fuel. And what insulin will do over time while you're sleeping is store everything. So if you want to know the best way to store fat, do like the sumo wrestlers do. Eat your biggest meal late at night. That'll do it. And the sixth pillar is smoking cessation. And that includes any of the toxins. So we know that smoking is bad. It causes all kinds of other problems, lung cancer. I always say to my patients, it causes lung cancer and cervical cancer and breast cancer. It causes all cancers, because it's not just in the lungs that it goes, but it affects the body's immune system and our ability to get rid of our damaged cells that aren't useful anymore. And that can turn into mutate into a excessive growth, and now we have a cancer. So getting rid of toxins like alcohol, like drugs, like not eating all of the processed refined foods, because if you turn it over on the back, you see more than 7 ingredients. If it has 15 or 20, you can't even pronounce the names of some of those ingredients, and they all are there to prolong the shelf life so that the food industry can sell you that food and they can make money. So health, you see that's in the center, and everything, all aspects of your life are all around it. It affects every aspect of your life. It is the keystone piece, and without it, everything else falls apart. So let's debunk some myths. Big lie number 1, eating constantly helps to stabilize your blood sugar. Well, constant eating or snacking leads to obesity, because insulin will come out whenever you eat. It's doing its job. And its job is, we've already said, to store what you don't use at that eating session. So that mindset about eating constantly benefits the food industry, because they get to sell you their food stuff. And it also benefits the big pharma, because they make these devices to monitor your sugars, but they don't lower your sugars. So, but your diet and your lifestyle will lower them. So you don't need big pharma's expensive monitors to tell you that your sugars are high. Debunking myths, again, big lie number 2, eat less, move more. This one has caused more frustration and duress than any of the others, because it makes us blame ourselves for not being successful. Balancing calories in with calories out does not work, because our body is not a bank. We're not a one compartment storage system. All diets do is result in yo-yoing. You stay on it for a while, you lose, and then all of a sudden it plateaus, and then you get frustrated and you go off, and now you've gained it back. And then it's twice as hard to lose the second time. And here's the bad part, you won't burn stored sugars or fats as long as insulin is activated by your eating food. Big lie number 3, you can burn stored calories with more exercise. Well, no, because we're not a one compartment storage system or bank, so you don't go into where all the calories are dumped and you can just pull them out. Energy is stored in 2 in a two-compartment system. I like to call them like the refrigerator and the freezer. Refrigerator's upstairs, and that's where the easy stuff, easy access is. That's where all the carbs are. And the freezer is where the fat is. And that's in the basement. And you have to really work hard. It's a lot harder to get at that, the fat. So in order to burn your stored fat storage cells, you must begin by reducing and clearing out your sugar that's stored in the liver. And since sugars are easily accessed from this fridge, the liver, but fat is more difficult, and it also has a limitless storage capacity, whereas the liver has a very minute storage capacity. And when it gets full, all those extra sugars get converted to fat and stored in your freezer. And then sometimes we make more than one freezer. We have a lot of freezers to handle the excess. So you've been misled, okay? Stop blaming yourself for failure to lose unwanted weight. All calories are not the same. The macronutrients, carbs, protein, and fat all have different amounts of calories when you burn them, and they are stored in different places. And as a matter of fact, we don't burn protein. Everybody's so mindful. We got to get the right amount of protein. Protein is broken down into amino acids, which are used to build muscle. And yes, we need muscle, but we need fats and carbs or sugars to fuel the muscles. So we have a two-compartment storage system that determines access. And we just said you have to deplete the refrigerator, get that down before you can even go to the freezer to get at the fat. And the body is also governed by circadian rhythms. We are diurnal creatures. We wake up in the morning and we go to bed at night, and that's how it was from ancestral times. When we went to sleep, we were sleeping, and we were in the fasted state when we were sleeping. And when we woke up, we had to break our fast. You've heard of the shift work disorder, where people who work nights, they get their whole system out of whack because our brains and bodies are connected. Our circadian rhythms are connected to the rhythms of morning and night. And we change that. That's like when we do daylight savings time, when we fly across time zones. You feel a difference because the body is affected. So mastering insulin hormone, that is the critical piece for preventing diabetes and also avoiding dementia and excessive weight gain. I'm enthralled with the new sciences. It's why I went rogue. I'm a nutrition now educated physician, not that many of us out there, more showing up as we go along. But nutrition is the keystone piece to our nourishing our bodies and fueling ourselves correctly to greet the day. Epigenetics, I love this one too. It talks about how our experiences like trauma can live and stay in the body and even be passed on to the next generation. Genomics, the study of the human genome. We now have figured out all the pieces of the human genome. We are working on treating various cancers and diagnosis and treating various cancers based on our understanding of our DNA. And here's my favorite. Positive psychology, because heretofore psychology dealt with all the bad stuff, ADD, depression, anxiety, things like that. And then someone said, Dr. Martin Selig from University of Penn in Philadelphia created this positive psychology, said, well, what makes us happy? And we found out that loneliness, isolation, especially in old age, is a fast way for early demise. That we are creatures that require connection and belonging, purpose and meaning. That lights up our lives and gives us happiness for now. Not happiness when I get to, but happiness daily in the present. Then there's neuroplasticity, another biggie, because I was taught in medical school that the brain, once it was developed and once you grew up, that was it. There was no more, the brain was static. It couldn't grow or regenerate or anything like that. Well, that's not true. We make new neural pathways all the time. And what we do can affect that. So trauma, genetics, our food intake, toxins, all infections can damage this process. But what's fascinating for me is that fasting and the process of autophagy helps with the neuroplasticity. So it is not true that we can't improve our brains and learn as we age. We don't necessarily have to go the way of cognitive decline. So you are not alone. Join like-minded women and work together. Learn to live a disease-free life up to 90 years or more, avoid chronic diseases and dementia, and slow down aging to become the wise women elders that we were meant to be. Working together is the best way to make behavioral changes. You feel supported, you have fun, and you get to interact with people that may even share some of their insights and how they were able to be successful. But my biggest piece is the slowing down aging, because that's something that we don't realize, that it stresses our bodies, the things that we do, the way we live, and we can turn that around. And you look at places like the blue zones where a larger percentage of people live to 100 years of age because they follow lifestyle medicine, they have meaning and purpose, they eat real food, they get sleep, they get outdoors, and they walk, they have sunshine, they do all that stuff, and they're happy, and they live longer. So schedule your Blueprint Discovery Call with me. We'll review your journey, because I'm surprised at how many women I ask, where do you see yourself in a year from now? Oh, they hadn't thought about it. So we'll get to define your goals. We'll put them in the SMART goal category so that they are specific, measurable, attainable, reachable, and timed. We'll build strong muscle fitness, mental fitness muscles. We'll build strong mental fitness muscles, say that 3 times. And that's important because your mindset controls your reality. What you think is real. If you think you can, then you can. And if you think you can't, well, you're not gonna, you can't. So you'll also, when you call, you'll learn about my 3-step system that we shared earlier: conscious eating, time-restricted eating, and lifestyle medicine. So I want to let you know that this blueprint call is not a sales call. You decide yes or no, yes to work with me, or no, and then you still get my free gift, 10 easy peasy weight loss tips, plus more clarity on where you are now and where you want to be, along with a blueprint to help you get there and to get to the results that you've been longing for. So here's the combination of success and happiness are achievable. Letting go of the fear-driven motivation. You don't have to worry about, oh, am I going to get dementia? Am I going to, how can I get rid of this diabetes? That's all, fear-driven. It's like those commercials that show, this is your brain on cigarettes. And people still smoke. Fear works for some people, but it doesn't last and it doesn't bring happiness. So part of working with me, I'll help you expose your sabotaging and self-limiting beliefs so that you can go further. I'll help you see that this imposter syndrome is what's keeping you stuck and it's not real. And I'll help you embrace self-care lifestyle and a self-loving lifestyle. It is so much better and keeps you feeling good about yourself and about your achievements and helping you to get there more. Here's my contact information for a Discovery Blueprint call. You can call my business office, leave your name and email and phone number so I can contact you back. I will call you back, or zip me a quick email, or you can check out my website at balancetobloom.com, or the best thing is to use my calendly.com/Dr. Sayini, DrSoyini, to book schedule a call on my calendar. And I will be very happy to connect with you and share your journey and how I can, my program fits in and can help you. Okay, thanks for your attention. I look forward to answering any questions.